As you saw in the introduction, we have landed here on Raivavae, the first island we're going to be visiting in the Austral Islands, which are part of French Polynesia, but somewhat rarely visited compared to the main islands. We're really excited to be here for the next week, and I've got a lot to share with you before we fly on to the next island. In total, we're going to be visiting 4 islands here in the Australs. Right now, we are spending the day at Motu Piscine, which is widely regarded as the most beautiful spot here on Raivavae. So in just a moment here, I'm going to share some footage with you taken here at Motu Piscine, also known as the swimming pool Motu. And then I'm going to take you on a hike to the summit of Mount Hiro. Now, this was a hike I did a couple days ago here, and I can tell you that it proved to be one of the best and most incredible hikes I've ever done in French Polynesia. Actually, my favorite hike out of the 9 different islands I've visited so far. So you're going to see lots of great views and the great challenges that come with hiking to the summit of Mount Hiro. But before that, enjoy now some footage taken here from Motu Piscine in Raivavae, French Polynesia. Motu Piscine truly is one of the most beautiful spots I've been to in my life. Wow. Hope you enjoyed seeing this, and now let's get on with the hiking. Coming up next here on the film is the hike of Mount Hiro. All right, we are about to begin the hike to the summit of Mount Hiro, the best and main hike here on Raivavae. So let me show you where the starting point is for the hike. So you can see I'm along the road here, and right here you can see that pink church and This is the road that leads across the island, the paved road starting at the south here. So just walk a short distance this way and the trailhead is real easy to find. We actually rode our bikes and have parked them right down this path. But just a short distance away is the starting point right here for the hike. So you can see right here the hike starting point and then the road that goes across the island starting from the south right here. All right, let's begin this hike. That's the view back out to the road. You can see we have left our bikes here. There's 3 of us doing this, myself, Mel, and Kate. And we're heading into the jungle, getting this hike started. Apparently this first part of the trail used to be an old road, so that's why it's somewhat cleared. See, the branches have been cut off so that they don't grow across. The first very steep portion has begun. And as I head up, I wanted to mention something about the Austral Islands because this is my first hike here. And I'm going to be visiting 4 islands, of course. But the humidity and the heat are way less than Tahiti and the Society Islands. So that's really surprising because it's not that far away. It was an hour, 45-minute flight to get here to Raivavae. And it feels like it's about 10 degrees cooler out and the humidity is a lot less. So that means hiking will be a lot easier here on the Australs. Really looking forward to this first hike. Definitely has the feeling of a road so far. You can see very wide path here, an embankment on the left. Banana plant right here, just past somebody's house. There is a house that is passed on the early part of the trail, so I didn't film there, just skip past it. If you see somebody, of course, ask for permission to cross the land, but nobody was outside or around. And now we're heading into the jungle and what has really become the trail part of the hike. So it quickly turns from a road to a trail after just 10 minutes. Yeah, just past that last, the one and only private home on the trail. So you just skirt around the front of that home and then the real trail begins as we are climbing steeply. Definitely very steep trail right now. Ducking under branches. Here is the very first rope section. You can see that steep portion here with the cable going up. It's been incredibly steep for a while. I have to say these cables help a lot through these steep sections. That was a really long section with the cables. Helped a great deal though, even in these dry conditions. Still very steep. As I continue steeply up here, it does look like the tree cover may give way to ferns. See all this tree cover? I've been hiking through this right here. Well, the hike has completely changed here in a moment's notice. We went from being in the jungle to walking through the ferns. And ferns are completely overgrown, just a narrow path through here. Continuing to battle ferns. This is what we're climbing right now. A little bit of a challenging spot there. We had to kind of crawl through a tunnel of brush. But then comes back down here and heads back uphill steeply. Really steep section I just climbed here through the ferns, but such a great view behind me. I can also see though as I'm going up this that it's already slippery, so I definitely wouldn't want to be doing this when it's raining. Whoa. Great view right here. You can see down at the road how far we've come up in elevation, and then just looking inland at these tree-covered ridge lines. And right there is what I just climbed up. Honestly, just so impressed already with this hike. The views have been just incredible, and the hike's been fun. And I think having the cooler temperatures here in the Australs helps too. Trail is very, very steep right now. Take a moment to enjoy the view. Tropic birds flying overhead. Just want to show you how steep this is. I took a couple falls. So word to the wise, don't do this at all if it's been raining recently. Climbing this very steep section. Incredibly steep still. Through the ferns. Beautiful, it looks like pine trees here. Great view looking out here to the southeast. A lot of noisy birds flying around. That's our trail through there. I just jumped off to the side here to show you this view. I believe that is our summit ridgeline in the distance there. Right here, just the perfect view of Motu Piscine. And Motu Piscine is considered by many to be the biggest highlight here on Raivavae. The trail, as it continues to the north, has opened up more views. Here is just a really awesome viewpoint. Yet another one came out into a clearing and basically looking due east here. Zooming in here, a couple of these neat peaks coming up out of the forest and ferns. Back to battling ferns. After climbing uphill for about 2.5 hours, we've arrived at this little flat area right here with just the best views we've seen all day. You can actually see all around. So let me take a moment and show you those views before we continue on to the summit. This is the view right here to the north. And the trail continues right in this direction. You can see the summit there in the distance. Can't wait to finish this hike and head up there. Looking over this way, this is the view to the south. This is due south right here toward the airport runway. Continuing around to the east, Motu Piscine. And here we go. Time to finish this hike. Hopefully we've done the hardest parts. This is a really awesome ridgeline to walk across. You see these trees right here, these pine trees? It's really interesting being right here up next to them when from over 1,000 feet in elevation below by our place of lodging, we could see them high up on the ridge. Really neat. What a great ending to this hike. I mean, it's really been outstanding the whole way, but talk about having an awesome ending. Just taking it all in. Such an incredible moment being up here, going to the summit of Mount Hiro. And I've done a lot of hiking in the South Pacific and particularly French Polynesia. This is actually my 4th trip to French Polynesia. Let me get through these fern sections. A little hard to talk right there, but I've done a lot of hiking in French Polynesia, and I think this is my favorite hike. The Mount Hiro summit hike here on Raivavae. And I'm not even at the top, haven't even seen the final views, but it's just been such a great hike all the way around. Even with these hard parts, as you see me battling through the ferns. Just such a nice hike. Looking back at the ridgeline I've been hiking along. I'll wait and show the full view from the summit. There's the village down there where we're staying. Tons of birds flying around halfway between the village and here in elevation. The summit is directly behind me, and it is very, very windy. So I have dropped my pack and I'm gonna see if it's safe to go up the final few feet here to get to the actual summit of Mount Hiro. Very challenging ending here under windy conditions. You can see these drop-offs on each side, to the left, to the right. Not a place to slip or get blown off by the wind. Final few steps to the summit. And this is it. The summit of Mount Hiro. All right, we made it to the top. The summit of Mount Hiro here on Raivavae in the Austral Islands. This is just incredible. Up here with the birds. What an amazing hike and grand finale. Wow, very windy, so I'm using caution at the top, but I personally felt safe doing this final stretch. My fellow hikers stayed down just a little bit, just to be extra cautious. So that's definitely recommended for those that have a little bit of a fear of heights and don't want to cross some areas of exposure. But let me get to the views here. Okay, it's nice and sunny here at the summit. Now this is the view looking to the west. You can see some sheer cliff faces, as well as quite a few birds flying around. But look how rugged this ridge is. And then looking over this way, this is looking to the south. Due south is the airport runway. Then you could see the inner part of the island right here. And then if you look this way, this is looking to the east along the ridge line we hiked across to get over here. And then of course down to the village where we're staying in our place of lodging, directly below us, but you can't get there from here. There's sheer cliffs all around. Be no way to hike down. And then back here, that is to the north. So now I'm going to zoom in a little bit and just show you a few more views. Those are the views here from the summit of Mount Hiro. And as I mentioned as I was walking along the ridge there, this is my new favorite, best hike in French Polynesia. Really incredible, just loved everything. A couple things to keep in mind that a guide was recommended, and that another reason for that is the goats have created different paths in some areas, so people are known to lose their way. It's not always clear which way to go, but we didn't actually make any mistakes. And also this last climb up to the top is a little bit treacherous and exposed. So a couple things to keep in mind, but wow, I am blown away here. All right, time to head down from the summit. See you down back at the bottom. Well, we did it. 5 hours, 15 minutes from start to finish. Coming back out at the road, I'm gonna ride my bike back for 30 minutes to get back to our lodging. Stefan and I are headed out to do the only other trail on the island. We're doing the alternate route to the summit of Mount Hiro. So this route actually starts from the village that we're staying at. It looks like it's a shorter route. Word is that it might be harder, but we don't know till we try it. So we're gonna go ahead and attempt it and see if we can make it or not. Real excited to do one final hike here on Raivavae. We're just approaching the trailhead, which is on private property right here. And it is right here where we're going to be starting. We need to get up to the ridge just to the left of the sheer rock face right there. So we're going to go park our bikes just ahead. Hi, Piggy. We gained permission to cross the landowner's property. The landowner has a lot of pigs. And so if you're going to do this version of the hike, you do need to ask for permission from the owner of this property before crossing through and doing the trail. The hard part about this alternate route is finding the actual trail. So it's not really marked and it's overgrown. So if you don't know the way, it's going to be hard to pick it up. You can see what we're walking through here. We know the route because somebody showed us yesterday how to get to the start of the trail and actually trampled a couple of these ferns for us. But as you can see, this would be a bit confusing for somebody. The early part of the trail is actually lined by coffee trees. Let me see if I can get a little bit of a close-up here. You can see right there. So these are indeed growing wild. Both sides of the trail right here. As we head up into the jungle. Actually a really neat tree right here. We have several times started up off in a wrong direction because the route is so unclear. But by backtracking, we were able to find definite trail and then see what we missed and go back and continue. So kind of trial and error. We're doing trial and error to make our way up this hillside through the jungle. And when you're on the route, it's clear. It's just, it tends to get lost once in a while. But we're making it. We're doing it. Here's a larger clearing we're passing through. Look at all the branches overhead, the canopy. Really thick. Thick and steep. Steep terrain here. Right here you can see the grade of the steepness that we're going up. Not any switchbacks here. We're just climbing straight on up the mountain. We keep seeing these beautiful flowers on the trail, falling to the ground, falling off the trees. Makes for a very pretty scene while hiking. I'll leave this here as our marker since we don't have ribbons for the way back. As you can see here, the trail has become quite rocky. Rocks all over the place. This part's really steep, be careful here. The trail continues to the left right here, but let me show you. We've reached the base of the rocky cliffs. We're looking up at this. So obviously we're skirting around these cliffs, the left side of them. Let's see where the trail goes next. Check out right here as we're passing by the base of these cliffs. The trail continues right next to them for a while. Right next to this rock wall. Looking up right here, you can see you don't want to linger. Could be a rockfall danger. The trail continues right up there. I believe we're almost to the ridge. We'll see in a moment. Trail is very easy to follow through here. Again, our concern is just rockfall danger. Didn't have that concern on the normal trail. The cliffs sure are beautiful though. We came into our first clearing, although it's below these rock cliffs, so we don't want to linger. But I just want to take a moment and show you our view. Straight in the middle there is where we started. Those houses down below on the road where you can see the vehicle driving by. We just arrived on the ridgeline. This was the spot right here where we crossed over, immediately entered into ferns. Let me take a moment and show the view here. So we're at the top of that rock wall. This is looking down. So the trail comes up this and it crests right there. And then this is looking at that little bump off in the distance. The end of this ridgeline. Motu Piscine is out there. And then the trail right here, as well as the views leading up to the ridgeline that we're on. There's Stefan taking a snack break. Before we continue, I just want to share a few words about this alternate route. Honestly, I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of this route. It's just a little tough toward the end when you get to the rock wall and have to follow along the base of it. Some very steep sections and spots that made me kind of uncomfortable. Me and Stefan made it through, but I definitely wouldn't repeat this hike. We didn't really know what we were getting into. So we're trying to decide later, are we going to come back down this way or go back down the regular trail? We are walking along the top of the main ridge right here. We're out of the ferns, into the grass, at least for the moment. We are looking down on the village that we're staying at, just down below. And you can see the ridgeline that we're on right here. Hike has gotten a lot easier on this ridge. Feeling a lot better about things. All we're doing is walking through grasses along the top. Walking along close to these sheer cliffs, a good 6 to 8 feet back, but still want to stay safe. Current ridgeline view right here. Look down toward the village. Walking right along the top of the ridge. As you can see, we're right above the village. Walking through some short and medium length grasses. Ferns are just off to the side. We're not in ferns right now, which is nice. The edge of the cliff is about 8 feet away. So I do feel comfortable walking across this, of course, with my son. Number one priority, keep him safe. But we're continuing along the ridge. We're going to try to reconnect with the other trail. That's the goal for this hike, to connect the trail and then have fully done both trails on the island. Just want to show these cliffs before we go up above them. There's tropic birds flying around, and literally right below us is our lodge. Along the ridge here, just a narrow top path. The beautiful cliffs just beyond. Taking it slow. You can see other people have noticed this rock as well, as people have been stacking smaller rocks or cairns on top of it. Just a real unique rock up here along this ridgeline. We are doing it. Me and Stefan are making it up this alternate route, climbing this steep ridge with incredible views to both sides. Look at that. And as well this way. Really, really pretty hike. Just hard. Not much more time left to make it to our objective. Hike is going really well the last 30 minutes. Totally comfortable on this ridge. Doesn't make me nervous having my son here, just keeping him close to me. Hike's going well. Have all these views. I am glad we did this alternate trail just to see what it's like and to have these views. Passing by all these pine trees. Just a faint trail here along the top of the ridge. Look at that blue water. The lagoon of Raivavae, and then the South Pacific beyond. This is what we're walking through right here. Ferns about 2 to 3 feet tall. Not very hard. Look at this sharp ridge line we're walking across. I can see our final bump ahead. And also, looking to the right, that is the summit. That's Mount Hiro. Different angle slightly than what I had on the main trail hike. Right here, the most overgrown ferns through this trail. Using this alternate route, I'm just pushing my way through them. I hear lots of noisy birds up here. Tropic birds. Here we are. This is the final rest flat area before going to the summit. Stefan and I officially made it. The summit being right there. Stefan and I made it. This was our objective, not to make it all the way to the summit, but to this bump which connects the two trails. So now, as you saw, I did the main trail with Mel and Kate, my friends, earlier in the week, and now me and Stefan did the alternate trail, which starts in our village. You can see the summit in the background there. We're not going to the summit. I've already been there, and we're going to focus on getting down safely, because that took a lot to do that. It was very hard. We're actually going to take the main route down. So the only thing I'm going to check as I go down is if that nesting red-tailed tropic bird is still there. I'd be interested to see that. But other than that, that's going to wrap this up till we get to the bottom. Well, that's about it for our visit to Raivavae, but we're continuing on to 3 more islands here in the Austral Islands. Hope you enjoyed this incredible place as much as we did. Being able to come out here to Motu Piscine, to hike to the summit of Mount Hiro, and to enjoy the bicycle ride around the island. So much to see here. This actually proved to be my 3rd favorite island in French Polynesia out of the 9 I've visited so far. Just barely behind Bora Bora and Maupiti. But yeah, so worth a visit. Making the effort to come out here to the Australs. Cooler weather, cooler temperatures, less heat and humidity, and just so much beauty all around. Anyway, we're going to be flying on to the next island shortly, so I'll see you when we get there.